The question says that a pebble of mass 0.05 kg is thrown vertically upwards. Give the direction and magnitude of the net force on the pebble during its upward motion, downward motion, and the highest point where the body is at momentarily rest. And do your answers change if the pebble was thrown at an angle of 45 degree with the horizontal direction? Ignore air resistance. So here two cases are to be discussed. At first, when the pebble is thrown vertically upwards, and second, when the pebble is thrown at an angle of 45 degree with the horizontal. So let us discuss the first case. So let us first discuss. So this is the coordinate axis x and y. We are assuming that the gravitational force is acting downwards and pebble is thrown upwards against gravity. Now there are three cases over which we have to discuss: the upward motion, the downward motion, and the highest point. So we know that when pebble will be thrown upward, its velocity will diminish with time, and there will be a point when it will become zero, and that point is called as the point of highest reach, and then it will go down to the ground. So while moving upwards, its velocity is decreasing, or we can say that it is having negative acceleration. It also means that the acceleration is acting in the opposite direction of the velocity. So velocity was in this direction, so acceleration is downward direction, and acceleration is due to the force of gravity that is always present, and that force of gravity is due to the mass. The expression for force of gravity would be mass times acceleration. This is g. So mass is 0.05 kg, and let us assume the acceleration of gravity to be 10 meter per second square. So its force would be 0.5 Newton. So this force is always acting in the downward direction, irrespective of the position of the body. So when it is moving upward, then also this force is acting, which is leading to the re-acceleration of the body. And when it is at the topmost position, momentarily at rest, then also this force is acting. And when it is moving downward, then also this force is acting, and this force now results in the increase in velocity with time, because the velocity is in same direction as that of the acceleration. So in all the cases, in first case, there is a force of 0.5 Newton acting on the pebble. Now in second case, when it is thrown at 45 degree angle, so let us assume that the ball is thrown like this. It will have a trajectory like this. This is 45 degree angle. This is the upward motion. This is the point of highest reach, and this is the downward motion. Now here again we see that the force would be acting downward because it is a gravitational force and it has mass. The pebble has mass, so it is always going to be acting in the downward direction. Now what would change here is at the point of highest distance away from the ground, it is not going to be at rest because it has some x direction component of velocity, which is not being affected by the force, because force is not acting in the x direction, it is acting in the y direction. So this component of velocity would make the pebble move in x direction irrespective of the height. Since we have to ignore the air resistance, so there is no any other force acting on the body, so it will have a motion in the x direction, which results due to the x component of the velocity, since it is at an angle of 45 degree. Now rest, the force is acting in the same downward y direction of 0.5 Newton in this case also. Thank you.